Hey guys, I have done classification of communication today. Well, there are basically four types of communication, but then I have explained just two in this part, and the rest of the two are explained in the next part. So, moving on to the chapter. When we look around, the first image that confronts us is that of people, all communicating with one another in different ways at different levels. For example, we see people poring over the latest books on the stands, or young adults listening to the music on their iPods, or maybe the teenagers always stuck on their phone calls. Well, the progress of human communication, it has been gradual. It started with simple vocal gestures and body language. We all are familiar with the chest-beating triumphant roar of an early man, of Tarzan. If you watch the movie Planet of Apes and Tarzan, you might better know. With a powerful thrust, it was provided by the development of language. It gave weightage to our communication. Both the spoken and written word gave substance and permanence to our communication. Well, technology, however, took communication to even more greater heights. Technological inventions and the changes to the late 19th and 20th century, it gave the unprecedented boost to communication. Be it telegraph, telephone, radio, photography, newspapers, television, satellite communication, or computers, all have contributed to the changes in communication systems of the world as well as the Communication Act itself. The different kinds of communication have been categorized under four basic headings. Number 1, intrapersonal. Number 2, interpersonal. Number 3, group communication. And number 4, mass communication. Intrapersonal communication is nothing but talking to ourselves. For example, you're late for a class and the teacher questions you about it. You're too busy talking to yourselves and trying to come up with an excuse to justify your tardiness. The process in which we use thought and language to internalize our feelings and analyze them is called intrapersonal communication. A time for introspection when we communicate with ourselves. Well, all of us, me, you, everyone, we do it all the time without even being aware of it. It is what is referred to as self-communication by many. In an intrapersonal communication situation, the source and the receiver is the same person. Well, the response, feedback, reaction is given by the same person. All forms of introspection and self-analysis come under the category of intrapersonal communication. We'll take it for example, you dress up for an occasion and you stand in front of your mirror, you gaze at yourself, you look at yourself and you question yourself if you're looking good enough. And your inner voice, it answers the same question. It is an accepted fact, by the way, that when you have in your skills as an intrapersonal communicator, you prepare yourself for the next step in communication. Intrapersonal communication, in other words, paves the way for other kinds of communication. Now moving on to the next type of communication is interpersonal communication. Well, the move from intrapersonal to interpersonal communication is a logical one. From self to another person. No man is an island in that none of us can be satisfied with mere self-communication. We all crave the stimulation of others in our lives, and that automatically means interpersonal communication. Communication between two or more people. Well, the movie Castaway by Tom Hanks has amazed us and is the best example that one cannot survive without communicating. Man is a social animal, and he needs to intermingle and communicate for sheer survival. So the definition of interpersonal communication is: interpersonal communication is communication between two or more people, essentially a situation where we communicate face to face with others, directly with no medium or channel as a go-between. For example, you're having a conversation about a recent issue with your friend. You're physically present, face to face, and your friend makes a comment about the issue and then you reply him or her back. And then again your friend adds few more points and gives his or her opinion. And then you again come up with your own opinion to the topic. So this was an example of interpersonal communication. A situation where the people are physically present in view of each other, face to face, with no medium or channel and feedback or response is immediate is very much an interpersonal communication. Noise or disturbance may distort and prevent any kind of communication from taking place, especially the non-physical variety semantic noise. Both the participants should consider each other's language proficiency, educational background, knowledge levels, and even the socio-cultural setup. This will help in preventing misunderstanding, conversational gaffes, and social fox pass. There is no discounting the fact that frame of reference of experience shared by people propels interpersonal communication. The greater the shared frame of reference of experience, more successful will be the communication. Field or reference here refers to the beliefs, knowledge, and socio-cultural setups. This overlapping of frame of reference of experience is termed as homophily. Interpersonal communication makes possible an interpersonal relationship and vice versa. Meaning, when you're in communication, you build a relationship with others, and when you're in relationship, you help in communicating. Well, the major limitation of interpersonal communication is that it is confined to a very small number of people. The reach of interpersonal is thus limited. It is not suited for impersonal issues. Hence, it is ideal between people who share a pre-existing relationship with each other. Interpersonal communication affects our attitudes more than the knowledge level. So the communicators, knowing these inherent characteristics of interpersonal communication, should use this method accordingly. That's it for this part. Thank you so much for being so patient. Your suggestions are always welcome. Well, the next two types of communication are explained in the next part. Thank you again.